Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, P.J. Sittenfeld is now the latest Cincinnati City Council member to be arrested by the FBI. And don't think for a minute that the three that have been charged and arrested and one's pled, don't think for a minute that it's going to spread like wildfire as everybody tattletales on everybody. Folks, the feds ought to investigate nearly every damn public official in this country, and God only knows what they'd find out. Look at Trump. He's been investigated by everybody, and he's clean. You know who's corrupt as hell? Joe Deters. I wonder if the feds are investigating him. Joe Deters. You know, Otis. Let's make sure we put a picture of Otis up there. You know, Otis from Andy Griffith. Joe Deters is first and foremost a full-blown alcoholic that you reelected, Hamilton County. Full-blown, untreated alcoholic. He shows up for breakfast drunk. I've had about 100 with him. He's intoxicated all the time. Heck, you've seen him calling on WLW radio. You hear him at his press conferences slurring his words. Full-blown alcoholic. And you reelected him. Also, lazy as hell. He takes about 8 vacations a year, never goes into work at all. He has his top people run the show. He is a joke. But here is the worst, the corruption. I would love to see the FBI seize Joe Deters' phone records, text messages, emails, and so forth and so on. He's as corrupt as anybody on Cincinnati City Council. And you know what, folks? $1.7 million raised and spent by old Otis in this last election. He's owned by the Cincinnati Country Club set, the 4th Street Boys. They own Joe Deters. Can't imagine the corruption that's going to come out of that. And you know what the game plan is, folks? Before he leaves office, while DeWine's still governor, he'll resign and Greg Hartman will be the next Hamilton County attorney. I got to tell you a funny story. I hesitate to tell this story, but I tell this story because I'm in full-blown screw all of them. So you're going to love this story. Do you know why Greg Hartman, per Joe Deters, had to leave the Hamilton County Commissioner seat? Remember, Greg Hartman was on Hamilton County Commissioner, and all of a sudden he resigned because he was messing around with some Hamilton County worker. And his wife said, who's rich, member of the Hildebrand family, said, you were either out of here, you leave, or you're out of here. Well, he chose money and not a divorce over that. But here's the best part. Do you know the girlfriend in Greg's phone was programmed in as Joe Deters? Joe told me a story once that he's sitting there at lunch and Hartman goes to the bathroom and he looks at his phone and it's ringing and it's Joe Deters. Imagine Joe's sitting here, Hartman's phone's there, and he sees it's ringing, and there's Joe Deters is calling Greg Hartman. So Greg Hartman's girlfriend was Joe Deters. Then we got Alex Tilafonto, big Hamilton County chair, who does an awful job. They just got beat to hell in Hamilton County. You know what Joe tells me? That Alex T hits on all the pretty girls at Dinsmore, and some of them have complained. Really, Alex T? Who would want to mess around with that whale? Then we have Matt Borges, who just got arrested as part of the nuclear energy scandal. Matt Borges was Joe's chief assistant when he was the treasurer of Ohio and had to plead guilty to a crime and refused to testify against Joe when the grand jury was looking at old Joe. Matt Borges is a crook, Joe's buddy. Then we had recently a search warrant on the chairman of the Ohio Public Utilities Commission. Who's on the Public Utilities Commission? Dennis Deters, making $200,000. First, Joe puts him on the good old Court of Appeals. And then he loses. Why? Because he didn't support Trump. Then he loses that, so then Joe puts him on the Hamilton County Commission. Then he loses that because he didn't support Trump. Then Joe gets DeWine to appoint him. Come on, Dennis! Can't you do anything without Big Brother Joe? Court of Appeals, you lose. Hamilton County Commission, you lose. But now you're on a $200,000, couple meetings a month, Public Utilities Commission. I hope Joe and all of them go down. They would if they'd investigate them. Old DeWine, Joe's buddy. And you know what, folks? You wonder why I hate Joe so much? All these political connections and all his corruption. Joe Deters, and I got the Texas to prove it, despite repeated requests, didn't care about the Durrani victims, who, by the way, we were paying him $60,000 a year. You know what? He couldn't even pick up the phone, call DeWine, Yost, or somebody and say, who can these people talk to about their Medicaid liens? That's all we wanted. Joe gets a contact person. Nothing corrupt. Just get us the person that can help us. Joe would not even do that. Joe, you're a son of a bitch. Then we got Trump. You ever heard Joe say anything good about Trump? By the way, Alex T. and Greg Hartman both got shafted being U.S. Attorney Hartman, and Alex T. is a federal judge because they screwed Trump. Trump got his revenge. Oh, poor little Alex didn't get a freeloading federal judgeship appointment. Oh, poor little Greg didn't get his U.S. Attorney appointment. It's a joke. You know when Judge Steve Martin lost the Hamilton County judgeship? By the way, Judge Martin, you're a joke. Guess what happened to Judge Martin? Joe puts him on the payroll of the Hamilton County taxpayer in his office. You know what I predict? One or all of Judge Dingleacker, Judge Little Bitty Chuckabicki, and Judge Ethna Cooper, all of them or one of them will all be working as Hamilton County prosecutors on the taxpayer dime. These people are all a bunch of people that can't go out in the real world and work. They suck off the tit of taxpayer dollars. And there's old corrupt Joe. Last but not least, wasn't it weird that Joe Deters, big shot Republican, goes part-time to go work for Stan Chesley? Really? Stan Chesley. And you know what Joe always told me that him and Stan did all the time, and they had this down, was chamber practice. Do you believe that there was Judge Mallory who heard a trial that Joe and Stan tried together and lost? And miraculously, Mallory gave him a new trial. And guess what happens next? It goes up to the Court of Appeals where Mallory got an appointment. I mean, it is so unbelievable. Joe bragged that he had chamber practice. Because he was the Hamilton County prosecutor, he could walk into any judge's office anytime he wanted and ex parte the hell out of him. How do you think that's good for the criminal defense attorneys in Hamilton County, who are all scared of Joe? You're a bunch of chickens. Joe Deters is corrupt as hell, and he deserves a federal investigation. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Have a nice day, Otis.